Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Scott. Scott, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you. So, can you let us know where you live and what you do?
Yeah, my name's Scott Umbreit. I live in Windsor, Colorado, and I own a e-commerce business called Drift American. And we focus on Mustang performance and drift parts, and it's kind of a niche industry. We only specifically focus on 79 through current Ford Mustangs and performance and drift parts.
Awesome. So, can you let us know what is your role in this company? Like, what are your core responsibilities? Because I can understand a founder may have a lot of hats. So, what are your core responsibilities?
Well, I wear a ton of hats because it's pretty much myself and a couple part-time employees that run all this stuff. A lot of it's drop shipped, but about 25% of our business is stuff that we stock in-house. So I'm involved with everything from advertising, marketing, customer service, sales, distribution, ordering, so on and so forth. So it's a lot of hats to wear, and I'm learning kind of how to automate that and find the right people to help me become more successful and get more done, because you can only do so much as a one-man operation.
Makes sense. And this is the beauty of entrepreneurship. So, entrepreneurs are the ones who are magical and they can do a lot of things.
Yes. Yeah, you have to.
Exactly. Awesome. So, Scott, let us know a little bit more about your business. Like, what are your products and who are your ideal?
Yeah. So the business, I started in 2017. The reason why I started it is because I got into drifting, and drifting being primarily originally a Japanese sport. All the cars out there were Japanese, all the parts out there and all the support was for Japanese vehicles. Being an American and a Mustang guy and just having a passion for drifting as well, at the time, there wasn't a whole lot out there that was available. So I started finding little suppliers and people around the country that made certain parts, and started putting them all together online, because at that time, there was no way to find these parts. It was kind of luck of the draw, or if you found somebody on a Facebook group. So I decided I'm going to put together a single source where everybody can just go and find all the parts and make it simple and easy, and just try to grow the Mustang as far as in the drift community. So we've been able to do that. Fortunately, every year it just keeps growing more and more and more. And now we see a lot of Mustangs out there, and it's become a good, affordable option compared to some of the classic Japanese cars that have gone up so much in price.
Yeah, makes sense. So, in terms of Scott, marketing, because marketing is an essential part of any business, basically. So, in terms of your marketing, like how you are doing this, you are utilizing the digital marketing because you are running e-commerce. So, you are using more the digital marketing side, or you are more towards the offline marketing, or you are using any mix and match?
I've done a little bit of everything, and I think that's kind of what you have to do, and kind of play around and see what works best for your business. I've found that Google Ads and stuff seems to be the most relevant for my business. Obviously, social media and all that stuff does help as well and can drive business, but I found more success actually through just Google Ads, stuff like that, than spending the money with social media. That being said, I do need to ramp up my social media, because there is a benefit to having that all working together, your email marketing campaigns, your social media, your advertising, so on and so forth, along with, your blogs on your website. If you can do YouTube stuff, so on and so forth, that's really beneficial. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. And, you want to put out good content. It takes a lot to produce that. So it's kind of a difficult thing at times to pick and choose what you want to spend your money and your time on. But really, I think if you can kind of focus on a little bit of everything and then find what really is the most beneficial for your business and then go from there, that's what seems to work best. But it takes time. I mean, I've been playing with this stuff for, 7-8 years, different marketing techniques and so on and so forth. And you just never really know what's going to work. So that's kind of the exciting thing, but also the scary thing too.
Exactly. So obviously, when you are up for the marketing or for the sales, you have to consider a lot of things, like geographically. You need some information geographically, and your information depends on demographics as well. So, what do you think? Where is your more clientele? Like, your clientele is a location-based clientele, or you think like it is even in the whole US?
Originally when we started out, it was kind of more regionally based. You'd see a lot more sales in the South, like Texas. The areas that have really good at the time, like a really, really strong local drift scenes. Everything, the whole sport's grown so much, and the drift scenes locally everywhere has grown so much that it doesn't matter where you are. There's people ordering parts, and the market's grown so much. Initially, it was kind of more regionally based. Like you'd see it in Texas, you'd see it in Florida, you'd see it California, Northeast, stuff like that. Now it's pretty much all over the place. So that's kind of the cool thing. And I mean, I primarily focus on targeting basically the 18 through 40 demographic is primarily my customer base. And most of my customers are usually in the 25 to 35 range once they start making some money and wanting to throw some money at cars and have a little more time and ability to do that. But we have everybody, from people starting off with their first car, doing really budget builds to people that want to do 6-figure crazy restorations and crazy performance builds. So it's pretty exciting, but it's primarily younger to, middle-aged males in the continental US primarily.
Well, in the whole world, like other than USA, I believe even the aged people are also more towards the Mustang, especially towards the older models. They are always doing restoration and sort of like these things. But yeah, I think the trend in US, this is maybe from 25 to 35, but in Europe, in other Asian countries, this is a trend to restore the Mustang. And I have seen like many aged persons, even who are of more than 50, they are playing with the Mustangs.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy. I would love to go to Japan one day and really see the car culture. I have a friend who's living over there right now, and he sends me all sorts of stuff. There's a couple shops that are just Mustang and American car kind of focused in Japan, which is really cool. But it is neat to see that. And I have people contacting me all the time looking to order parts all over the world. And we do send stuff all over the world. It's kind of a hassle with shipping and trying to calculate that, especially with drop shipping and the weights and the size of the packages and so on and so forth. It gets kind of complicated doing that, but we've sent stuff all over the world, which is pretty darn cool. And it's so neat seeing people in Europe or whatever, Germany, sending me a picture of one of our stickers, or in Estonia or Romania or Australia or New Zealand or, wherever else we've sent parts. It's so cool to see people enjoying them all over the world and enjoying Mustangs and drift culture.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Awesome. So, Scott, as an entrepreneur, obviously, you must have faced many challenges, and I can say like every day comes with a new challenge. So,
Yeah.
can you share one interesting challenge or whatever, even if the bigger challenge with us, where if you can let us know about how you were able to cope up, this will be a plus.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, honestly, probably the biggest challenge was just having the confidence to even start this business. So at the time I had a detail shop and I was running that, and this was just kind of a passion project because it was something I really cared about a lot more than detailing. And it just seemed like something that was fun. And I was kicking around the idea for probably 2 or 3 years. And I actually ended up meeting with my CPA, and I was talking to her about it. And she's, "You're passionate about this. You're excited about this. If you don't do this, you're going to regret it." And so like just having her give me that little bit of a confidence boost to, you can do this. I know you can do this, because there's a lot of people that doubted me or just didn't really think it was a great idea, but I was willing to take the risk. And thankfully, Cassandra, my CPA, she's so sweet. She was behind me 100%. She encouraged me to do it. And that was one of the biggest hurdles. And then just figuring out initially kind of how the lay of the land is as far as finding suppliers, learning how to deal with customers, learning how to deal with shipping, chargebacks. And then more so recently, it's been, struggles with trying to figure out the market and like what's going to be with tariffs and stuff like that. Fortunately, most of our parts are made in America, so we've been able to avoid most of the tariffs, but now we're starting to see it as far as hardware and stuff goes. So now it's kind of forcing some of our suppliers to raise prices, even though we've done everything we can to avoid that. But unfortunately, like hardware, just nuts and bolts, silly stuff is kind of expensive now. So that's kind of a challenge. And then just also ever, changing competition and just trying to keep up with the market. But the main thing is you just got to focus on whatever you can do and, do as much homework and research as you can, and don't get frustrated by it. If you have a bad day, come back the next day and see what you can do to overcome it, and do more research on SEO, or do more research on social media management, or do more research on advertising. And never be afraid to call other people in the industry and just talk to them and see what they have to say, because it's amazing how many people that you think are competitors are actually really willing to help you out and work with you and teach you and educate you. And it's really cool to see, what we've been able to do and how many small businesses we've been able to grow. That was kind of a long-winded answer there.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Scott, many businesses faced the problem because of the tariffs. So how you were able to come up with it? Even they had any impact on you or not?
Yeah, they have. I mean, sales have slowed down. I think easy money is kind of hard to come by. So
Yeah.
sales have kind of slowed down. So I've really had to ramp up my advertising just to try to counter that. And I feel like we're working twice or three times as hard to get the sales that we had before. But there's always more opportunities. You know, it's easy to get frustrated and be like, well, our costs went up, sales are down. What do you do? This business is failing. Well, you just have to look for new opportunities and ways to, come up with more affordable solutions, or not necessarily cut costs, but figure out how to do things more efficiently, where, whether it's ordering in a larger quantity or negotiating prices or finding a new supplier or whatever it is, just to try to, navigate the waters. So some parts are, have gone up a lot, and other parts haven't been too bad. Some stuff's actually even dropped in price, which is awesome. I love when we can do that. But I tried to stock up on the high volume sellers and stuff before the tariffs really hit, and we'll have plenty of inventory for a while here, I think.
Well, this is beautiful. Like being an when you are an entrepreneur, you need to be an optimistic. So yeah, you always need to find the opportunities out of the challenges. Awesome. So that's great.
Absolutely.
So Scott, let me know what are your short-term goals, maybe in next 4 to 6 months.
Well, I want to keep working on advertising and growing our product portfolio. We've primarily been drift Mustang parts oriented. So now I kind of want to get into more of the performance side of things. And I always kind of let the customers dictate what they're looking for. So for the future, it's going to be more of what's called a Coyote engine, a 5-liter Ford V8. Doing these swaps into older Mustangs is becoming a lot more popular. So we're starting to see a lot of innovation and stuff with companies like Make It Modular and other companies that are developing all these products for swaps. So we're kind of trying to get into more of just kind of preserving car culture, V8s, whatever we can do to make it easier for people to swap in newer engines into older cars. And it's great to see people saving, cars that are going to the junkyard or cars that would never have a chance on the road, and people are bringing them back from the dead and putting a bunch of money into them and making them cool again. So that's always exciting.
Awesome, awesome. And what you're thinking about your company, maybe after next 4 to 5 years, like in the terms of long-term plans?
Yeah, long term, I'd like to grow a bit. I don't know how big we can grow. I don't want it to get out of hand where I can't handle the customer service side of things. I do want to expand as far as employees and stuff like that, but it's got to be, responsible growth, and make sure we can bring in the right people on board that know what they're talking about. Because we try to pride ourselves in customer service and really helping out the customers and doing the right thing and helping find solutions for customers, when a lot of other companies are just kind of like, well, sorry, here are your parts now, you're stuck with them. We always try to work with our customers, figure out how we can get their cars on the road or on the track and get them the parts they need. Because there's a lot of weird interchange stuff that sometimes doesn't fit, or since COVID, the quality of parts a lot of times has kind of gone downhill, depending on where you get them from. So you really have to be careful, especially with cores and stuff nowadays.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So, Scott, obviously, every company do have different measurements, different parameters for the measurements of the success. So, what are your parameters for the success? Obviously, the one easiest thing is that you can measure your success with the help of your revenue. But if we put it aside, other than revenue, what are the elements that defines your?
Well, I think it's interesting because when you're young, you want something different than you do when you get a little bit older. When I was young, all I wanted was a big house and a Ford GT and a boat and all this stuff. Now I really now that I have a family and stuff like that, I kind of want to prioritize spending more time with my wife, my son, doing stuff for the community, doing some things that are a little bit different than just focusing on myself and drifting and my own cars. Yeah, it's hard to say because I love putting all my time and effort into the business, but my wife also owns a restaurant, so it's kind of challenging trying to manage everything at once. So, I think the main thing is just trying to seek balance, really. Try to seek balance. Obviously, try to make more money. I mean, it'd be great if my wife could be a stay-at-home wife, but it's gonna take a lot at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, Scott, it was really nice talking to you. Please, at the end, give us the biggest piece of advice for our audience who are, again, the entrepreneurs, or they want to be an entrepreneur.
Well, I guess the biggest piece of advice for people that want to be an entrepreneur is really lay everything out and really do a thorough market analysis and really do your research and figure out if you're actually going to make money with a business and figure out what it's going to cost to get it going and figure out a game plan. Figure out a 5-year plan and work backwards. I didn't do that with my business. I just kind of took it and ran with it. And that worked for a while, and that was fine. And I kind of got lucky to a certain extent just because I found a niche at the right time. But that's not the way I would recommend doing it. I would recommend finding something, doing the homework, researching your competitors, so on and so forth, and then figure out what it's actually going to cost to get in there and emerge into a marketplace. You obviously want to find something that's, decent margin, but also something that's somewhat easy to sell. So it's hard because there's a lot of competition out there for really everyone, for people that are business owners and people that want to be business owners. The hardest thing is just, I think, reminding yourself to not focus on the day-to-day as much and get caught up emotionally. And whether today was a win or today was a loss, or I got beat down by, it's easy for me to do. It's things, you can spiral really quickly when 5 or 6 negative things happen. All of a sudden, I don't know why I'm doing this. Why do I have a business? This is not worth it. But then you zoom out and you look at the 3-day picture, the 5-day picture, a month, and it's like, this is going really well. So the main thing is just trying to be optimistic, focus on what you can control, and kind of learning to minimize risk, but also let go of the things you can't control, because there's always going to be things that you just can't control. And it's not worth getting upset about those.
Well said. Well said. Well, thanks for the beautiful advice. So at the end, please, Scott, let our viewers know how they can reach you if someone wants to reach you. You can share your website, your social media handles, or whatever you want to.
Okay. Well, the website is driftamerican.com, and that's on all the social medias, Drift American. And then my personal Instagram is at scott.umbreit, which is spelled like my name is. And then I was kind of working on a TV show on PowerTube TV called Drift America, which I know they definitely want me to plug that. So there's only a few episodes out there from a few years ago, but if you get a chance to watch Drift America on PowerTube, that'd be cool. Certainly appreciate your time. I've been watching your podcast and really enjoying the guests and learning a lot from everybody. So I think you guys are doing something awesome here.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for the encouragement, and thank you for joining us today. I really enjoyed the conversation and I also learned many things from your side.
Oh, great.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Scott, have a good day and stay in touch. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks. You as well.